Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video, and this is a paid request for Walker. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, random thoughts, streams, commentaries, video game playthrough for an hour or full playthrough, movie review, re-review, whatever the case may be, feel free to send it and I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. And this time it is for Little Fockers from 2010. You know, the whole Fokker thing was funny in the first Meet the Parents, but the more you retell the joke, the less funnier it gets. Yeah, I mean, if I watch Meet the Parents again, I remember my first thoughts on it in the context, I could laugh in that movie. But that's kind of like this whole movie. It's a joke that you keep redoing over and over and over again. And then people just get tired of it. And that's what happened with this film. They got tired of it. I heard, I hope it's not true, that there was talks of doing a fourth one of these. I think that's a bad call. Now, the first Meet the Parents I do think is a funny film. Ben Stiller, Robert De Niro, Owen Wilson. I think it's a funny film. You know, I'll be watching you, the whole cat jinxie. Ben Stiller at the end. Did you do with that? That was a one movie idea. You did not need a franchise. You did not need sequels. It hit the right spot for a lot of people, including me. Again, if I put it in... trying to see, do I have the DVD over here? I always do this. I always look over this, but it's always over here. But I just still laugh at that film. But the sequel, like the second film, was a step down. And then this one, I thought was the worst of the three. And I found very little to laugh about in this movie. Because there was barely a story, and then the story that's there, you go, really? Even the third time? Once again, Robert De Niro doesn't trust Ben Stiller's character. Once again, Robert De Niro thinks Ben Stiller's doing something bad. Once again, Robert De Niro tries to prove that Ben Stiller's doing something bad, but never did, and then never fucking apologizes for it. I'm sorry, I'm wrong. And I'm like, okay, really? We're going to do this a fucking again. Once again, Owen Wilson wants to kind of get in with this girl, but you know he's not going to make it because, especially in this case, because the girl he's going for is married to Ben Stiller, and the movie's not going to have Ben Stiller and the girl break up, so she runs off with Owen Wilson. So it's like Owen Wilson's like trying to do what he did in the first movie, but here is just less funny and more of a fruitless venture. The two kids, indifferent on them. In the plot of the film, Ben Stiller and the wife, they're married, they have two kids. Ben Stiller's doing well job-wise. Jessica Alba is in the film as this drug representative that wants to sell this erectile dysfunction medicine that is also safe for heart patients. And throughout the film, she kind of has the googly eyes for Ben Stiller, but Ben Stiller is married and wants nothing to do with her, so he's trying to like ease her away, but she's more adamant to get into his pants, pretty much. I forgot Kevin Hart is in this film. He's in, I don't know, one or two scenes as the nurse. Robert De Niro, in this film, his character has heart problems. There's even a bit where he's having a heart attack and he calls 911 and has to do defibrillator bit onto himself. His other daughter, who's getting married in the first film, her husband, who is a doctor, he cheated on her. So Robert De Niro wants someone that's going to take his place. And now the only guy he can see is Ben Stiller. This is one of those films that it tries to have more... I swear, this tried to have more juvenile shock humor than the first one. I don't remember the second one, to be honest. I know I've seen it, but I don't remember a damn thing about it. And the first one, yeah, I mean, you had the whole conversation about the nipples. I have nipples, could you milk me? But see, like, that was funny with the reaction and the timing. This one, it found it interesting that this is, I believe, the same director who did American Pie, the first one. Because it felt like it was trying to go more into that type of comedy. Or the comedy that was there just wasn't that witty. I mean, Ben Stiller's mom is Barbra Streisand. His dad is Dustin Hoffman. Apparently Hoffman was not going to be in the film because they weren't going to pay him. But then they did it late in the game, so he's only in like 3 or so scenes. Or he's somewhere in another country trying to learn how to dance, like siesta, salsa dancing. Then later on comes back and talks with Ben Stiller, and then he's kind of near the end of the film. Barbra Streisand, she has a show that she talks about sex things, so she talks to her son Ben Stiller about musical condoms. There's a joke where Kevin Hart is a nurse and he's got to put this thing up this big guy's ass. So Ben Stiller and Jessica Alba help, saying all these things about inserting and relaxing and doing this, and like the way they're describing it, you know, going to the anal cavity, and okay, it's definitely, it felt even more trying to be juvenile than the first movie. Ben Stiller's cutting the turkey, something happens, he accidentally cuts his finger, and the blood spraying all over Robert De Niro's face. Harvey Keitel's in the film as a handyman that seems like he's ripping off Ben Stiller. Robert De Niro calls him on it. Ben Stiller's like, I will drive the truck because we're going to have a party and this stuff needs to be filled with dirt. He's backed it up. He screws up. The dirt all falls onto Robert De Niro. It felt just more like lame slapstick. Or just more, I don't know. There's a bit where Robert De Niro took a pill he wasn't supposed to, so he's got a boner. And then Ben Stiller has to get an injection, you know, to stop Robert De Niro from having a continued boner. Like, these are the jokes. Other people, Laura Dern from Jurassic Park, she's in the film, and she thinks Ben and De Niro are gay. I think Jordan Peele, he's in the film. He's one of the paramedics that appears at near the very end. Because I'm watching this going, is that fucking Jordan Peele? It is Jordan Peele. But this is 2010. This is before he director, you know, all that other stuff. So this is a story that just very... It was a pretty lame, shitty story. Where this is more of, we need to milk, well, no pun intended, we need to milk this franchise for more droplets to get out and try to further the pockets of the studio. That's why I think Ben Stiller and Robert De Niro each got $20 million. That's why I think the budget for this was close to $100 million. Let me check real quick. And it didn't do that well. It didn't do that great. It cost $100 million and it made $310 million worldwide. So I know you just say, well, it made, 3 times the budget. Well, that's not how it works. Because you gotta think of marketing. You gotta think of how different places around the world, the way they handle movie theaters getting a chunk of change and the studio getting a chunk of change. I've heard that the studio gets less from stuff on overseas than they do in the US. Like the US is like 50-50. I heard it's less overseas. Oh god, they are making another one. Scheduled to be released November 2026. Are you fucking kidding me? Focker-in-law. That one of the kids are grown up. And what, it's going to have Ben Stiller acting like Robert De Niro? Oh my god. I'm curious, what else did this director do? Since I'm on here. American Pie, Down to Earth, About a Boy, American Dreams with a Z. And after this, Fatherhood with Kevin Hart, Moving On with Lily Tomlin and Jane Fonda. But yeah, American Pie was his first film. Let me look at the writers. John Hamburg. What else did he do? He's one of the 2 writers. Oh, he had a hand writing Meet the Parents. Jim Hertzfeld. And he didn't come back for this, did he? I'm just making a guess. Nope. Someone named Larry Stutty. Well, stick my foot up his ass. So, the story, once again, Robert De Niro doesn't trust Ben Stiller. We've done this multiple times before. Like, how many times do you have to do the same old shit? De Niro doesn't trust Ben Stiller. We've seen this before. Like, how many times can you do the same shit? The same story? It just becomes redundant after that. De Niro thinks Ben Stiller is cheating, but then nothing really comes of it of dire circumstance or consequence where, oh, the girl's going to threaten divorce, the wife or anything. It's just De Niro and Ben Stiller get in a fight in a ball pit, and then De Niro has cardiac arrest, Ben Stiller takes control, the paramedics come. During the fight, De Niro felt his pulse and knew he was telling the truth. I mean, yeah, yet again. Like, how many more times does he need to prove himself before you go, okay, this guy is fine and dandy? How many times? If you don't do a third film, can you change it up a bit? Can you change the formula up a bit? I like Ben Stiller, Tropic Thunder. I even don't mind that film he did with Jennifer Aniston. Was it Along Came Polly? I didn't mind that one. I liked the first Meet the Parents, but he's going through the motions. Robert De Niro's going through the motions. Even the end of the film is trying to do the bit from the first movie Whereas the camera footage Robert De Niro was watching, only this is footage from when Ben Stiller was at a conference, and it's been some of the dialogue, the audio's been edited or re-edited, remixed. So I haven't like repeat stuff and re-edited to make it more like you would see on YouTube or TikTok or something like that. But even that, I mean, it's not the same, but it's just remind you of the first movie. It didn't really bring anything new concept wise, except it felt like it was trying to push more of the American Pie type of humor. Oh, here's De Niro's boner, guy in Jet the Boner, shit like that. So I thought this film was fucking stupid. Thought this film was fucking dumb. It wasn't funny. Robert De Niro, the guy, I don't know about him personally. Career wise, I can't remember the last film he was in that I thought was worth a shit. I mean, The Irishman was. I didn't love The Irishman like other people did. I thought that movie was way too long. I didn't hate the film, but I don't think the film was as interesting as some people made it. It definitely was no Goodfellas or Casino or any of those classics. So I wasn't big on The Irishman. But yeah, I'd have to look at what was the last De Niro film I really cared about. Even Ben Stiller, Tower Heist was a time waster, maybe, and I really like Tropic Thunder, but I can't remember. There may have been a film afterward that, oh yeah, I liked it. But yeah, I Meet the Parents 4. You fucking, no one was asking for this movie. That's why this movie didn't make as, it didn't make as much as you wanted. That's why you stopped. And they set up a sequel at the end where, oh, now Ben Stiller's family and his wife's family are going to move near them. That's a total setup for a sequel, and there wasn't one because the film didn't do that well. Or it definitely disappointed. I mean, if you're spending $100 million on a comedy and you're only getting 300 worldwide, I mean, it's not Game Busters. Which is just fucking stupid for any movie to spend $100 million on a fucking comedy. But yeah, no one is asking for a Meet the Parents 4. I've never met a single fucking person that said, I want to Meet the Parents 4. Who is this made for? Hell, what was this movie made for? Meet the Parents, to repeat, was a one movie deal that I think worked for one movie. It was a concept with the title, and there was nothing left to tell of the story, and that was proven correct with the other two sequels. They got more derided by critics. This got, 9% of Rotten Tomatoes, give or take? I'm curious, what does it have on IMDb? I'm just curious. A 5.5. I think that's way too high. I do. I'm just curious on July 20th, 2025. Yeah, that's my computer. It doesn't like the news. Oh, shut up. It'll be directed by Little Fockers producer John Hambird. What spurred the idea is that I'm the age that De Niro was when we did the first movie. This is Ben Stiller. It felt like a mirror to the first film, where one of my kids is thinking about introducing his person to the family. So there's going to be a lot of, do you remember this? Do you remember this from the first film? Do you remember that point from the first film? Remember them berries? Yeah, you're trying to hang them off your nuts and dip them to my mouth. I don't want it. Dip your balls over there. Far the fuck away from me. But this movie, I'll dip my balls into its mouth. Just at least it be some good fucking usage, because it wasn't as a fucking comedy, because there was no goddamn laughs to be found in the movie. I didn't laugh one single time. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. Fuck little fuckers. How about that? Later.